Good evening, guys. Bill McMillan here with NDWX.com. Tuesday evening, only a couple of days before Christmas. Unfortunately, still don't have very good news for those holding out hope for a white Christmas. Just not in the cards this year. In fact, we're going to be doing good to get temperatures down 10 degrees above normal for Christmas Day itself. So a warm and we think a dry Christmas. We're going to be in between storm systems. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But today, speaking of in between storm systems, that's what today has been after we got rid of those thunderstorms during the early morning hours that rumbled through central Indiana. We even broke into some sunshine this evening across central parts of the state. Much appreciated, that's for sure. The Storm Prediction Center, though, continues to keep a large portion of Indiana under a slight risk of severe weather for tomorrow. We also note the enhanced risk of severe weather continuing to inch ever so much closer to southern portions of the state. We'll keep an eye on that. Within this enhanced risk, there may be a few violent long-track tornadoes tomorrow. Here locally, we still think damaging winds remain the biggest concern with thunderstorms that may come in two waves tomorrow. We'll take a look at forecast radar product here in just a moment. That said, we can't rule out an isolated tornado across southern and central Indiana tomorrow, particularly tomorrow evening. We'll keep an eye on things. All in all, a very active weather day ahead for central parts and southern parts of the state as we go through Wednesday. Hard to believe a couple of days before Christmas. The setup we were talking about this morning really includes a shortwave trough that is going to eject out of the plains into the western lakes. And with that, we'll see a surface area of low pressure accompany that trough. It's going to swing a cold front through here, and it's going to slice into some unseasonably moist, relatively unstable air as we go into Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. So let's put the GFS into motion here. And we note that showers and thunderstorms will probably come in two waves through the day Wednesday before we begin to get into a cooler and more stable air mass for Christmas Eve that probably will continue as high pressure inches into the area Christmas Day as well before a return flow and a very, very heavy rain threat sets up over the Christmas weekend. Taking a look a little closer, though, to potentially some of the timing with these thunderstorms on Wednesday, we're looking at our Futurecast with the high-resolution NAM here. Put this into motion. We note that the high-res NAM indicates potentially some strong, maybe some embedded severe thunderstorms on the western Indiana state line as we go into the early portions of the afternoon, and that line progresses east and begins to weaken. At least according to this model. We don't take things verbatim here with this, but this is just an idea of kind of what things may look like on the area radar as we go through Wednesday. That's the first wave of showers and thunderstorms as those begin to kind of dissipate before refiring across Ohio Wednesday late afternoon. But we also notice there's going to be some additional thunderstorms that likely develop along the cold front itself late tomorrow and tomorrow night. And these may also be very capable of becoming pulsing to strong to severe levels very, very quickly. With all the dynamics and the moisture in play tomorrow, it's certainly going to be wise to have a means of keeping up with the latest weather information. We would highly encourage that, whether it's us or through the National Weather Service or a very a wide range of additional weather sources across central Indiana. By the way, Central Indiana is really blessed with a tremendous amount of very talented individuals in the weather field. We put out a tweet earlier this morning highlighting some of those that we recommend following. We also left out a few as well. There's just so many to mention out there. But Indiana is certainly very blessed to have a very talented meteorological community all working together to ultimately keep you safe. That's the goal here. Needless to say, they're going back to this. Before we get into that cooler and more stable air mass for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we think we've got two waves of thunderstorms that move through the area. Again, early Wednesday afternoon potentially, and again Wednesday evening. We'll fine-tune that as we continue to move forward. The next item of business is going to be an area of heavy rain that kind of wobbles through the area a couple of times over the weekend. The GFS remains very bullish on this. taking a look here as we put this into motion, you're going to see heavy rain lifting north late Christmas Christmas evening, I should say, into Christmas night, and then continuing in off and on fashion over the weekend, and some very, very heavy rain is possible as this area of low pressure heads into the Great Lakes. 3 to potentially even 6 inches of rain aimed right at the heart of the region here over the weekend, most of which would fall over the weekend, of course. So some localized flooding can't be ruled out. As we get into that setup, we'll continue to fine-tune that after we handle the severe threat tomorrow. Finally, longer term, still looks like we're shifting into a colder and potentially more wintry weather pattern. It's going to come in a kind of we've been labeling it a step-down process. It's not coming all at once for early January. There's going to be some fluctuations, but as we close out 2015 and head into 2016, we probably see a blast of some Arctic air. That most likely won't have staying power, but it sets the stage for a more prolonged kind of stick-and-hold winter weather pattern that we get into, we think, come mid-January that most likely will continue through the rest of meteorological winter and on into the spring. Guys, that will do it for this evening's update. Have a wonderful evening. Stay tuned for the latest updates as we continue to look over model data later tonight and tomorrow concerning the severe weather.